What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to review some stocks, and then I'm also going to review one of the swing trading plays that I'm looking to take. The entry's not there yet, but let's break it down. Let's go through the stocks first, then let's go through that last play. So first, let's look at Tesla real quick. Tesla right here, as you can see, has been on a nasty downtrend coming down, basically all the way from 414 all the way down to 170. That's a 60% drop. So if you've been holding this since about 2000 and let's just say 21, it's very difficult to be green on this unless you're shorting it. Congrats to the shorts. Now, you just got to keep in mind that Tesla has earnings coming up. Earnings are coming up in 2 weeks. So you really have to be careful taking positions with Tesla. I've been in and out day trading them. And if I'm wrong and it blasts up, I'm okay with that. I need to see Tesla actually prove itself with earnings because it's been very weak and it's been missing earnings. And let's go over on Webull, there is a way that you can see how they do on their earnings. So let me just find that real quick and then we'll look into that. All right, so it just took me a second. So if you double click, I'm using a MacBook computer, and then you click on chart settings right here. This is on Webull platform. It'll bring this up under events. And you see this little blue E, that's earnings. You click here on earnings and it'll show, and you can see it flashing on the bottom of my screen right now. So now let's look at the earnings, let's look at the history, and anytime Tesla has earnings, they die. So let me just give you a good example. Tesla earnings right here, which was the July of 23, we were up here at 300 and we died basically from 300 all the way down to 260. Let's move over here to the next earnings. Here is earnings right here. That's in this candle, 253 all the way down to 208. Let's look at the next earnings. We were at 212, went all the way down to 180. So in my humble opinion, as much as I think that this is a double bottom here in these two zones right here, and I'll highlight it for you just for the newer traders that are looking, but you got to be very cautious here. But right there in that zone, and then right here in this zone would be perceived as a double bottom. And I kind of see that as a double bottom too. And you have the support in this area as well. But I just think there's more downside here. I could be totally wrong here. We're hovering at 170. I think Tesla for the next 2 weeks is going to stay from 160 to 180. It's going to need some telltale sign. But you had this bear going down. Now you had this. You went back, double bottom. If Tesla has good earnings, then we're going to see this blast back up to 200. That's an 18% move. But I'm hoping that we get a pullback to this 150 range. That's where I want. I want Tesla in 150 range, continue to dollar cost average over time, and that'll be beautiful. So that's enough time on Tesla. Let's look at the overall market real quick. Overall market, as you can see, we were at all-time highs. We were retesting and we rejected just recently the 450 level. So right now, if QQQ can finally break 435, we can start trending back down to 420s. That's what we want. And now looking at McDonald's, I think McDonald's is a potential play, but we just have to be a little more patient. I am looking at this long-term trend chart. Beautiful stock, bullish in the long term. And buying the dips, you have been rewarded. So I am waiting for an entry around 255 to start dollar cost averaging into McDonald's. So that's where I'm looking at with them. Just to zoom in more so you can see it. 255, a little too expensive for my taste at 265. May get a bounce here. But if I miss it, that's okay. I wait for my targets. No big deal. JP Morgan had a nice sell-off after earnings. Let's go back to the 5 days so you can see the damage. They went from 200 all the way down to 182, and that's an 8%, 9% move pullback right there. So that was a nice move, but we need to be patient. I am staying away from JP Morgan for now. I need them to come all the way down, and I'm very picky when I buy stocks, especially if they're going to be long-term. And I got a lot of drawings in here. I must have been trading them in the past because look at all these drawings we got going on here. But anyway, so you have this nice peak channel right here that was forming. Let me see if this can catch it for us. Let me just check real quick. We'll do trend channel, go right up here. So that was your trend channel. And it's been following that, but now it just broke through. So since it broke 188, it's down to 182. I need to see some support. And for me, that support is coming in around 150. So I got a long way to go. I set my alerts. That's it. And I'm not day trading JP Morgan. I want to buy them long term, but I got to wait for 150. Next, we're going to look at Home Depot. I love Home Depot. I think this is a great stock long term. But once again, just using the big chart, I mean, look at it over time, 5 years out, super bullish. But now here, rejected 400, coming back down. We got to wait for this area in 280s. So for me, it's not a play. Next, Carnival. Carnival sold off after their earnings. They died. So here we go. I got $50 all the way down to $12. Now, if you go down to the actual, let's just go to 3 months so you can get a better look. They have broken support here at this $14.50. They're still trending down. I think we have more downside to go. And just being patient, because with interest rates still sticking around, we just have to be very careful. Inflation sticking around. We just have to be very careful. So $14.50. Hopefully we get a move back down to $12. Then we'll start thinking. Tilray, I called these guys out earlier. I played this stock. I called them out at 1.78. Check out my previous video. I'll try to attach it at the end of this if I remember uploading. But I called them out at 1.8, and then they blasted up to $3. So that was a nice gain. So 1.8 all the way up to 3.8. It's a 74% return. But now look, it has completely died since. So you got to be really careful. This is a penny stock. You got to be very careful with this. 3.1 all the way down. You lost 40% if you bought up there at $3. So Tilray is definitely, I like trading them when they're around this range, 1.75 to 1.6. So they're on my radar, but you got to follow a stop loss with them. We can't be holding them long term. SQQQ, shorting the market. I always make videos on buying SQQQ, and I'm wondering if I'm going to regret if I don't have shares. I'm going to pick up some shares this week at SQQ, try to get them. I think if they can this is the inverse of QQQ, if they can just break 11.25, the reason I say that level, it does have decay, so you have to be aware of that. But if QQQ can just pull back and just break this 435 level, I'm hoping we get a move back down to 420 and then eventually 412. That's what I'm looking for. So we have a long way to go. And when you buy SQQQ long term, you just got to be very careful. I strictly only hold this for a week or two max because of the decay. But there is just so much upside potential. But you have to keep in mind, look what it does over the long term. All it does is decay and erode your money. So for me, I'm not trying to predict crashes in the market. I'm trying to predict healthy pullbacks where I can make some quick gains on it. What I'm hoping for is we can get a move back with SQQ from $11 back up to $15. That's 40% return. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen in 2 weeks, so that's why I keep scalping them and just day trading them. To hold them, it's very difficult. You just got to be very aware of your position and don't overdo it. Use it as a hedge against your long-term positions. Maybe 5% in the portfolio at max, nothing crazy. Anyways, Apple. Looking at Apple looks very bullish here. I'm not bullish on anything until I see the earnings. I got to see earnings. Earnings is coming out on May 2nd. You can see it right here in Webull, which is pretty cool. So that is in a few weeks. That is 2 weeks from now, 2.5 weeks. So I'm going to be cautious with Apple. Apple's been dead. It's been going from 200 all the way down to 170. Could be a good long-term. I think if you're long-term buying, I would just keep buying shares. If I'm long-term, who cares? Dollar cost average, couple $100, no big deal. But if you're going big and going heavy, I definitely would be very cautious. We're down 16%. Even just looking at year to date, it's down over 11, 12%. I mean, from 196 all the way down to 167 was 15%. Now it's not bad, 9%. So good dollar cost averaging long term. Apple is always a play. It's the biggest part of any fund that you buy, them and Microsoft. And they're going to be around. They're not going anywhere. So if you want to buy them, I don't blame you. Looking at NVDA, I'm just very cautious on. I have them in my long-term growth funds where I have a certain percentage allocated to them. FSPGX, you guys know anybody that's following my channel, I always buy them every single week. So NVIDIA, I don't have shares of, but I missed this ride up, but I got them in my long-term growth fund that does carry NVIDIA in it. So I got a little bit of them. But I'd be very careful trading this right now. I mean, this was pumped all the way from 200. Look at this, 200 in May all the way up to 1,000. Just be cautious. I'm not looking at NVDA until it's at like 500 or 600 to start buying shares. I know that sounds crazy. That's not what people want to hear. But I'm not willing to buy something that's $800. That's like, it's up. Look at the percentage that it went up in just in 1 year. It's ridiculous. 220 up here. That's a 336% return. I just feel like the risk versus reward is just not there. I feel like I can lose more buying up here than making money. I could be wrong, and hopefully I am. And leave a comment in the section below if I am. Next, DJT. This the Trump Media Technology. The stock has been pumped all the way from $15 up to $80. It's pulled back. It went to $32. I'm not gonna lie. I'm thinking about buying some shares. I'm waiting for the. This is a made-up projection. Don't trust my opinion on this. I am going to probably buy shares around $25. That's where I'm looking. So I'm being very patient. And the reason I came up with that figure is because right in here is where I believe that we will have some sort of psychological support. So I'm waiting for it. We need still a little bit more of a pullback. And we're at 32.60. If we could pull back there, that's another 20% down. But the reason is because of this. I see that we had resistance here, failed, and then eventually when it broke through, let me zoom it out for you guys. And then when it broke through, it blasted up to the moon. So I might have missed the pump. I might be bag holding. I'm not going crazy with this investment. I'm going to buy some shares. I just want to have some skin in the game. You never know during elections. Maybe it'll have a nice pump to it. But this is like fun money. You could lose your whole investment. So just keep that in mind. But I'm waiting for $25 for the Trump media stock. Next, I want to talk about my swing play. So this is the play I'm talking about. This is the iShares Russell 2000 ETF. This is the small cap index ETF where you can buy 2,000 of the small cap companies. I personally think that there is a play to be made here. Year to date, this is where we're at. We were at 197. We're basically break even on the year now and 4 months in. But when I look at the overall chart, I just see we have potential support coming. And this is going to be a swing trade from 190 back to 200. This is where I'm looking. And this is probably not the best play because if you look at it, inflation is not going away. And what do small cap companies need? They need money. And they need money for their companies. And if they have inflation sticking around, it's going to affect the bottom line because they need to borrow money. But I'm going to try to buy this fallen knife. And I'm going to buy it when it gets to about 192. I'm going to dollar cost average 192 in between 190. That's where I'm looking. And this is not like a huge gain we're looking for here. So let's say at an average of 192. I'm trying to trade it back to 200. I'm trying to get like a 4 to 5% gain. That's not crazy, but I'm willing to put some money in there because if I can get, let's say, a $10,000 to $20,000 position, if I can make 5%, I can make $1,000 or $2,000. And that's what I'm looking for. So you have to really lay out what you're looking for when you make these trades. But the small cap ETFs, they're very volatile. And I'm seeing some rejection here. We've been selling off from 212 down to 198. And there hasn't been many pops, 203 to 207, 203 to 206, 199 to 202. My goal is to catch this fallen knife. And I'm not going to allocate, my whole entire portfolio to it, but I think that I can definitely make some money off this, and I'm going to try. So this is what I'm looking at for my entry. I'm going to lower this a little bit to about here. I'm looking on the consolidation here, support right here. So 192 is where I'm looking to start buying some shares. I already set my alerts, and that's what I'm looking for. So this is going to be one of my next plays. So keeping everything on target. I'm watching Tesla. We have earnings in 2 weeks. I'm going to keep eyes on Apple, which we have earnings in May. And then I'm going to keep an eye on the IWM iShares, the small cap 2000 ETF for that 192 level. And that's where I'm looking. I just want to give you guys what I'm looking at. I bought Starbucks in the taxable account long term, and it's a good thing I bought up here at like 90, I don't even know, I think $90. So I'm a bag holder now. I'm bag holding Starbucks. I bought them at like $90 and now they're down to 84. So I'm down like 8%. So we're doing real great with that stock. but it's really been selling off. So we're gonna buy some more with the YouTube money that we make from next month, and we'll continue to dollar cost average. But where I'm waiting with Starbucks is I want a dollar cost average at $80. So $80, I'm gonna buy some more shares of Starbucks, and I think that's a good entry because I already have this drawn out of support and resistance, and you have support right in here. It broke this support. Right there was resistance, broke through, and then it sold back. So that's what I'm looking at with Starbucks right there. So guys, I just wanted to show you what I'm looking at. That's my focus for the week, for the next, basically the month. And I try to plan it out that way. So keep strong eyes on some of these stocks because you have earnings coming out for the Magnificent Seven. All right, until next time. All right, guys, so just showing full transparency here. This is the Starbucks position I have, $364, $91 a share. We're down a nice smooth 6.69%. So we'll add with some of the YouTube money when it comes in at the end of the month. And then we're also Tesla. We bought some shares. We got a dollar cost average of $170.70. And we'll continue to add with the YouTube money. And then we bought Baba as well. So far, our YouTube portfolio of Baba, Tesla, and Starbucks isn't doing the best, but that's okay. We're buying long-term anyway, so we'll see how it goes. And then this is the growth fund that I've always been buying. This has been shown on the platform, $100 every single week we've been buying. We're up to almost $8,500 in this. We're up 28%. So that's keeping me in the green for this portfolio, which is really nice. But that's it, dollar cost averaging and looking for scalp trades when we can. All right, guys, this is the channel Trading Simplified. Just want to show you some of the top videos if you're looking into it, how to set up automatic investments on Fidelity. I have my Fidelity Active Trader Pro setup that I show a video on, and then the Active Trader Pro shortcuts and the FSELX semiconductor. These are my most popular videos. Definitely be sure to check them out. Hopefully you'll learn something, and feel free to share this video if you can, and super appreciate it. Thanks.